Release the Kraken!
Welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and look at doing the hands. So let's dive right in. I'm going to go to top view. Oof. Get over my hand here. Now, as we did last time, we went ahead and straightened up the hand a little bit to accommodate our fingers. We're going to have to do a little bit more work on it, but you'll see as we go. Let's go ahead and grab our joint tool. I'm going to go ahead and place my first joint right about the knuckle there. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click to make the next joint. I'm going to make it right about where the cut in the fingers are. So you can see how in our fingers we have these cuts that the extra cuts that we made to help it bend. That's where I'm going to be placing the joint. So the next joint, hold Shift, click, and the next joint, hold Shift, click, right about at the end of the finger. Now the joint chain is kind of big. I'm going to hit Enter, hold down Shift, select the joints, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to go to my channel box and adjust the radius to 1. Now the reason I selected each joint instead of selecting just the parent joint is selecting the parent joint only selects the first joint. You can see when I select this one, it says joint 1. But if I hold Shift and click, it now says joint with a dot dot dot. That means more than one joint is selected. So if I were to just select this one, and let's say I change that to 2 again, it only changes this one, even though they're all selected. So be aware of that. Okay. Alright, so come back in. You can see that this is straight, but the finger is not. So we're going to have to adjust our finger a lot like we did our leg and our arm to fit the joint chain. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a joint chain for each of our fingers, and I'm going to size this up so it matches. So this one is probably okay there. That's probably good there. Tip of the finger, I'll move that back just a little bit. Go ahead and select the joint chain, Control D. I'll move that up to where the joint should be. Move it forward in position. This one should be about there. So if you look at your hand, you'll see that your middle knuckle is a bit ahead of the first knuckle on your index finger, so that's good there. And then that the bending tip of the finger is a bit ahead of the fingernail. So that should be about here, and then the tip of the finger, like so. Next one, Control D. Move that into position. That's probably fine. Good, good. Let's see, index finger is a little bit behind the middle knuckle. And then this one is a bit behind the middle knuckle, and then the tip should be just behind that as well. Next one, Control D. Move that up into position. The pinky tends to rest a little bit below, so move that back. And the knuckle positions accordingly. And lastly, we have our thumb, so I'll grab the index finger, Control D, move that back to where the thumb is. Now for the thumb, we're going to do something a little bit weird because the thumb does bend strangely. What we really should do is have this angled out and then kind of straighten the thumb to accommodate. But our thumb also bends downward. So what we're going to do is instead, we're going to shape the joint chain to fit the thumb. Not the best situation. You'll see the reasons why we usually don't do it that way, but to save time, we're going to. Plus, you'll see why. But you can also see, just like before, our joints have snapped to the grid, way down here, right? Just go ahead and select those. Let's go ahead and move them up into position. Like so. Good and center. Back to my top view. I'll grab my thumb joint, and then for these, I'm going to very carefully just move the joints in position to where they're going to need to be. I'm just going to go ahead and very carefully move this down into the position of the joint, or into the mesh there. Check it in all different sides. And that will work. Let's go ahead and position the mesh of the fingers. We'll go to vertex mode. I think I'll start with the pinky. Grab these. Now, our joints are going to try to take priority, so I'm going to go ahead and select the joints. I'm going to come over to my layer that has the joints on them. That's this one. I'm going to right click on it and just go ahead and add objects to, or sorry, add selected objects. That way now they're on the reference layer. That'll make it easier for me to move the mesh around without having to worry about the joints being in the way. And I said I was going to start with the pinky, but I'm actually going to start with the index finger, just because I'm here. So grab the mesh, vertex mode, and grab these. Press B to get soft select. You can see I'm actually grabbing some of the thumb or some of the finger up here, which I don't want. So I'm going to hold down the B key and drag that in so I can reduce some of that influence. Then I'll move the mesh Now if you find soft selects a pain, just go ahead and hit B and turn it off, and you can move things all by themselves. Rotate these forward just a little bit. Get my joint selection back on so I can move this part of the finger. All right, move this bit of the finger back. And don't be afraid to come in here and make little adjustments as you go, like the bulge of the hand right there where the knuckle was. A little much. I'll get my joints to turn back on, so I'll hit that. I'll just move this one back into the tip there. Okay, next finger. Moving on up, I'm going to grab these. This finger's pretty straight, but it's just from here down, it's at an angle, so I'm just going to rotate. Get my rotation tool, rotate, and then move. Right? That seems to have solved most of that problem. Some minor adjustments. I'll adjust this back some, this back some. Turn my joints back on. Let's see how far off are we. Yeah. Move the mesh back just a little bit more. We use the scale tool. I'll just kind of scale it and move it back. Turn my joints back on. I'll move the joints around. That one forward, this one back. Remember, you're better translating the joint than rotating the joint. So, don't want to move the joint. Let's turn those back off. Again, I'll grab the mesh. I'll grab it from here down. I'll rotate it. Move it into position. That soft select is handy, so you can use it to help adjust some of this stuff. I think I'll grab these. Turn soft select off, press R to get scale, and I'll scale this down. Move it back. Scale that just a tad, move it forward. And then joints, I'll move this back into the tip there. A little bit tilted, I'll clean that up off camera. I'll just go ahead and get this one last finger. Now remember, we should be working in symmetry mode, so if you have not been, that's going to be painful for you. So you can see as I grab this finger, for example, if I zoom out, it is also grabbing that finger because I have symmetry on. Kind of rotate. Move it into position. Scale the pinky just a little bit. Give my joints. Object mode. Move this one back. This one back. Okay, so now that that is there, we're going to name these, starting with the thumb. So I'll grab the thumb. We're working on our left hand, so L_thumb 1. Go ahead and copy that. Go down the chain. This is thumb 2. You can't have joints with the same name, so make sure that they're different. So thumb 2. Thumb 3, and thumb 4. Alright, grabbing that joint. This is our index finger, so this is L_index 1. Go ahead and copy that down the chain. This is index 2, index 3, index 4. Remember that you can press the up and down arrow keys to move up and down the chain. So this is L_middle. Now you could say middle finger or whatever, that's up to you. So long as your naming convention is consistent, you're fine. Typically when you're working in a studio, you'll have a naming convention that everybody adheres to. Doesn't matter if you're programming or doing graphic design work. So that's middle. We got ring finger. It's you. So L_ring. Two, 3, and 4. Last but not least, L_pinky 1, 2, 3, and 4. With all of our joints named, it's time to parent them to the hand, so go ahead and select them. So thumb through pinky, and then select the hand joint. Press the P key. Yay! We're going to duplicate these across. I'm going to turn symmetry off. So go up to symmetry. I'll hit off. Oh, and as I'm looking at this thumb joint is really high up. I'm going to grab that one. Press the D key, hit W, D, and then move that down just a little bit. And then for this other side, I'm going to actually take this collarbone, go ahead and delete the right side. I'll grab the left side. We'll get our mirror joint option. So skeleton, mirror options, joints, YZ plane, left underscore, right underscore, orientation, and apply. So now we should have that hand all ready to go, and that hand. Good. Alrighty, go ahead and save it from here, and I shall see you in the next one. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you've enjoyed the video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, make sure you leave them down in the comments. I upload new content every Sunday, and I release content every Wednesday. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon. Get content early. I also have official merch, Lame Duck Studio merch. It does exist. They do exist. So make sure you stick around for anything new, and I will see you next time.